Okay, this is 104, possibly 104A. We'll just kind of see how we do. And this is having to do with abstract rational equations. Now, this is the same kind of thing we did in the last lesson. The main difference is there's going to be a lot more letters than numbers in this. So, for example, in 104.1, we have 1 over x plus b over m equals c. And they're telling us that x and m cannot be equal to 0 because that'll make your denominator 0, which isn't possible. Alright, so what are we doing here? I mean, are we looking for x? Are we looking for b? Are we looking for m? Well, it tells us. It says find m. So what that means is we need to get the m on one side of the equal sign by itself. That's all we're doing. So we have to use our algebraic skills that we've learned in order to get the 1, the x, the b, and the c all away from the m, so it's all alone. So always the first thing you're going to do is you are going to get rid of the fractions. So we're going to do the exact same thing we did last time. We're going to take those two, put them together, and put them out here. And then we're going to write it as xm times 1 over x plus xm b over m equals xmc. Alright, then we're going to cancel that m with that m, that x with that x, and we're left with m plus xb equals xmc. Okay, so that's the first step. First step in doing any of these is to get rid of the fractions. Now the next step is to get rid of everything on one side that is not an m. Okay, so we're just trying to get the m's together. Okay, but I have an m over here, so really I've got an m on both sides. I've got to get all the m's on one side and everything else on the other. Well, let's go ahead and take this m and move it over here with the other m. So let's go ahead and do that. Actually, let's take this m and move it over here. I don't know which one's easier and which one's more difficult. It doesn't really matter which one you do. So let's take and subtract, because these are all stuck together because of the multiplication sign. So subtract it from both sides. Okay, now there's 0 because that went away. Okay, now we're going to take this and subtract that from both sides. So that gives me okay, because those go away. So notice what's happening. I've got all my m's together now, and I'm slowly getting everything else moved over there. Alright, so let's see. We have both an m there and an m there. So an m is common to both of those. So let's pull an m out. And when we pull an m out, what do we have left? Because that's really one m, right? We pulled m out, so we still have one left. Never forget that. When you are factoring a letter out of like these two terms right here to where it looks like this does not just disappear. There's always a place value. There's always something there in its place, and it will always be a 1. So when that goes away, always keep a 1 there. So now when we multiplied this back, m times 1 gives us our m back, m plus xc gives us our xmc back. But if this changed to not exist, then when we tried to put the m back to make it look like this, it would not. This part would not be there. So don't forget to do that. Alright. Okay, now this here is multiplied by the m, right? So in order to get rid of it, I divide both sides. And that goes away. And look what happens. I have my m by itself, and I have everything else over here. Okay? So that's basically the steps to do this. So let's go ahead, try a couple more. They're not too terribly difficult, but it's just remembering what we're doing here. Okay, so we are finding b given a over b plus c over d equals x. Okay, and we know that both b and d cannot equal 0 because that'll make the denominator 0. Okay, so what are we going to multiply the entire thing by? BD, right? Because that is what I have in my denominators. So let's go ahead and write that. BD A over B plus BDC over D equals BDX. Cancel that with that. And again, your denominators will always go away, leaving you with dA plus BC equals BDX. Alright, so fractions are gone. We're looking for B. Let's get the b's together. So we're going to subtract BC here. So remember, if they're multiplied, you have to take the entire thing and move it over here. You can't just take the b. So I'm left with dA equals BDX minus BC. Okay, now notice I have a b in both of those. So let's go ahead and pull out the b. And I'm left with that. Okay, then I'm going to divide. And those go away, and I'm left with b equals dA over dx minus c. Okay, let's keep practicing. Find x, this is 104.3, when a over b minus c equals d over x, and we know that both b and x cannot be equal to 0. Alright, so again, we multiply the whole thing times bx, and we get bxa over b minus b, that doesn't look like a b, okay, cancel x's, cancel b's, and I have xa minus bxc equals bd. Alright, so what am I looking for? I'm looking for the x here. Nice, my x's are already on that side, and they're in each one, so I'm going to pull the x out, left with a minus bc equals bd. Now I'm going to, that doesn't look like a d, does it? There we go. Now I'm going to divide by the a minus bc because they're in parentheses. They just all get drug along together. Okay, cancel. If they weren't parentheses, that wouldn't be able to be the case. So there's my answer, bd over a minus bc. Alright, so one more example and we'll be done with this video. It looks like we're not going to have to go into a second video, which is always good. Okay, so we have a over x minus y plus mn over k. And they're asking us to find x. Okay, so what can my x and n, because those are the only two letters that do not have, or that are in the denominators, x and n cannot be 0. And I'm going to multiply the whole thing by, again, my denominators. So let's go ahead and put all those together. A over x minus x and y, there's no denominator there. Okay, cancel. And I have na minus x n y plus xm equals x n k. So notice what we have here. I've got an x there, an x there, and an x there. I don't have one there. So I've got to get all three of these together and this away. Okay, so let's take these two and take them over here. So let's just do them one at a time. So I'm going to add x and y because that's minus. And that gives me na plus xm equals xnk plus xny. Now I'm going to subtract xm to get the xm over there. So I have NA now, and those go away, equal. Okay, that all looks nice. Now I've got an x there, and an x there, and an x there. Alright, because that's the case, let's move this up. I'm going to take out an x, and I'm left with an nk there. I'm left with an ny there, and I'm left with an m there. Now I've got this whole thing that I can divide both sides by. That's a k. And those go away. And I'm left with NA over NK plus NY minus M. And that's it. That's lesson 104.